بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، إلها واحدا أحدا فردا صمدا قيوما، ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والأوصياء والصديقين وعترة نبيك الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Last week we discussed the three phases of nurturing and raising our children: the early childhood, the middle childhood, and then we came to the third one, and the most important and critical one, the adolescence, which is very challenging for the parents, because adolescents, they experience rapid cognitive, physical, psychosocial growth. Their bodies, their brains are rapidly changing. And here, many parents they lack the experience. They do not know how to deal with these challenges. Many parents ask, what do we do? What do I do with my daughter, with my son, with my kids at this phase? It's a big imtihan, it's a big test, it's a big trial for parents, for families, especially nowadays that we are experiencing the COVID-19, this pandemic. It took a toll on our young generation. They paid the price. If you read the reports, the surveys, they say the most group that suffered from the repercussions of COVID-19 and the isolation are the young generation. And you can see it, sometimes it's visible in form of anxiety, depression, and other psychological forms. So how do we deal? Do we get frustrated and angry? What is the solution? Do we disavow our children? You are not me, you are not my family, you don't belong to me? These are not the right solutions. Here we have to be very patient, extremely patient with our family members, with those adolescents. And I'm going to mention two ways of dealing with them at this very important juncture in their life, the third phase, the phase of adolescence. And next week, God willing, inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to mention another two elements. So today's elements, number one, is to form friendship with our family members and the young ones, especially at this stage, at this phase, between the age of 14, 15, and the age of 21, 22. This is very critical age in their life. This is an age where they're going to decide their journey, their path in this life. And the most rewarding investment one can do in this life, when you invest in your family, in building good relationships, honest relationship, a relationship that is based on friendship, sadaqa, based on respect, mutual understanding. They need the presence of their parents in their life. Parents cannot afford to be absent from their children's life at this critical age. And friendship is a solution. They are not children anymore to take commands from their parents, awamir. You must do this. You have no choice but to follow this path. This is not a logical language. This should not be used at home. Because the family is not a military institution based on hierarchy and yes sir and don't discuss, don't argue with me, just you have to implement what I'm telling you. It's not a military institution. It's an institution based on love and affection and understanding. Therefore, there has to be a good relationship, sadaqa, friendship, between the father and his children, between the mother and her children, between all members of the family. Our kids, sometimes they need us to listen to them, a listening ear, a listening father, a listening mother. Maybe what they say is wrong, not always right, but we must listen to them. A lesson we learn from God in this book, in the Quran. When God condemned Iblis to damnation, Iblis said, listen to me. You are condemning me to hellfire, but I have the right to express my opinion. God said to him, yes, you are right. You have the right to express yourself. Tell me, what do you want to say? He didn't shut him off. Though God knows that Iblis is the mother of all evils. Nothing is right in Iblis. Nothing is right. Nothing that he says or does is right. But God was willing to listen to him. قال أنظرني إلى يوم يبعثون قال إنك من المنظرين. At least if you are condemning me to hellfire, give me respite, أنظرني, give me long life till the day of judgment, because I have a plan, I have a project. God said to him, you are granted. We must listen. And if we don't listen to our children, who are we going to listen to? Who else? Who else is closer to me than my kids and my family members? Listening with patience, with affection, with an intention to love, to guide, to protect my child. Friendship. Friendship is the only way. Friendship is the best way of guiding and protecting our children. This is number one. Number two, we as parents, we need to understand our children's challenges and burdens. We need to understand what's going on in their life. We need to know about their relationships with others. We need to know about their deficiencies, their concerns. What does concern my daughter, my son? We need to understand, not to be absent from their life. We must continue this dialogue with them. Dialogue, conversation, discussion. An intelligent parent, intelligent father and mother are the one who always have discussion with their kids. Sometimes take them on a trip with you. What's wrong with a father taking his daughter with him on a trip? His son on a trip. The mother takes her children on a trip with her to listen, to have a discussion, about various things in this life, the challenges that they face in their life. In this country is not an easy country. America is not an easy country. It's not easy. It's not easy for a student. It's not easy for a worker. It's not easy for an investor. It's not. It's a land of opportunity, but at the same time, it's a land of troubles and challenges and problems. So we must listen to our children, spend some time with them, and know what they go through. We have to be in their life, not absent. Many parents think that their role is just a breadwinner. He just to provide money. You are not an ATM machine. You are a father with emotions, with a brain, with reason, with aql, with character. Your children need more than money from you. Your role is bigger than being only a financial supporter. You are a moral supporter. You are a leader in your family. They look at your example. They look at your character. You cannot afford being missing from your children's life. The biggest mistake parents commit against their kids when they leave them on their own way. They are separated from them. This separation is going to lead into many, many deficiencies in their lives. I remember a story that took place in one of the states, not our state, different state. A father who thought that he has to pump money into his family. His job is just to work hard, bring money home. But he never asked about his kids. He never had a conversation. His son said he has been accepted in medical school somewhere else, in a different state. So the father kept giving him money for 5 years. The father was so proud that his son is going to medical school. Sorry? The father, yes. The father was proud that his son is going to medical school. After 5 years, the father realized that the son, not only he did not go to a medical school, he did not go to any school. To any school. And he was sending him the money. The father almost had a heart attack. They took him to the hospital when he discovered that his son is taking the money and enjoying the money on partying, enjoying himself. Why? Because the father was absent. It's the fault of the father. We don't spy on our children. It's not about spying on them. It's about having good relationship, honest relationship, based on a trust, based on respect. So if they have a problem, they don't want to go to school, they come to us. They tell us about it. They don't hide it. They come. And there are many other moral challenges that they face. Moral and philosophical. Many of the young generation, they do not follow the religion of their parents. The parents, they worship, they go to the mosque. The children, they don't go. Many. I would not say majority, but many. They are somewhere else. They don't believe in the mosque. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in religion. And this is another problem we are facing in this life. What do? We just leave them because this is land of freedom and my son is 21, I can't talk to him? This is not a solution. This is your son, your blood, your continuation in this life. This is the legacy you are leaving behind. What sort of legacy you are leaving? Is it right to say she's free, she's an adult, I can't force her to come to the mosque? You don't have to force her. You did not do enough to convince her to come to the mosque. I don't want you to force her. Don't force her. Forcing is not going to help. But from the beginning, you are not a good father. You are not a responsible mother. You left them. You didn't say anything to them. When they wanted to go to Disneyland, you purchased the ticket for them. When they wanted to throw a birthday party, you were the first contributor. But you never told them one day, I want you to come and listen. I want you to read the Quran. I want you to be in this religious, intellectual function today. You never told them this. You never brought them a book to read. You gave them all sorts of gifts, but not a book, not a moral book, religious book. They grew up separated from you. You live in the same house, but you have two different courses, two different paths. And now at the age of 25, you want to bring your kids to Islam? This is not right. This is not possible. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam says, "Allimu sibyanakum." When they are young, this phase, the phase of adolescence, the critical phase, the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is a critical age. Don't abandon them. Teach them, inspire them, coach them. علموا صبيانكم ما ينفعهم الله به. What they benefit in their life. لا تغلب عليهم المرجئة. Do not let murji'ah, and I'm going to tell you who the murji'ah are. Do not overcome them and brainwash them. Who are the murji'ah? Murji'ah were madrasatun kalamiyah, a theological school that emerged at the time of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Murji'ah's opinion is that anyone who says, I believe in God, we accept it from him, even if this belief, if this faith does not reflect in his or her actions. Even if he's a murderer, a thug, a rapist, as long as he says, I believe in God, we accept that from him and we consider him to be a good person. And we defer. Murji'ah comes from irja. Irja in Arabic, deferment, postponement, suspension. We suspend the judgment about them until the day of judgment. Why did Muawiyah create this? You know why? Very obvious. Muawiyah was spending money even on scholars. He would give philosophers, scholars, theologians money to come up with such ideas, such philosophies, to protect his throne. So when people look at what Muawiyah and Yazid and Bani Umayyah are doing, they say, no. We cannot criticize them. As long as he's Muslim, khalas. God knows what to do with him. We have no right to judge Muawiyah. We have no right to judge a criminal. As long as he says, I'm a Muslim, we accept that from him. At that time, Irja and Murji'ah were very popular. They started to spread. And most of the young people, they accepted this. You know why? Because young people, they don't want to accept any responsibility. He just wants to say, I'm a Muslim, but without the prayers, without fasting, without any obligation, without any responsibility, without any commitment, without any discipline. It works for them. It's very tempting. Khalas, he's a Muslim. Leave me alone. I'm a Muslim. You have no right to judge me. Even if I don't pray, I'm a Muslim. Imam al-Sadiq was forewarning his ashab, his community, that be careful of this type of thinking, this type of philosophy, because they're going to be overcome by Murji'ah, by this group. Nowadays, we might not have Murji'ah, but we have something more lethal than Murji'ah, which is atheism. Ask your children who go to school, who go to colleges and universities. Ask them how many atheist people they have in their classrooms, beginning with their own professor and ending with the rest of the classmates. Many of them are atheists. Today, children are learning atheism at universities. This is a big challenge for us. What do? Only dua, oh God, guide my son. But God wants me to work too. Where is your share? Where is your part? Show me what you are doing so I can guide your son. We need to have a dialogue. We need to have a friendship. We need to have a companionship. We need to have a good discussion, intellectual. If we cannot do that, if I am not qualified, there are people. But we must do something about it. Sitting at home and doing nothing and leaving our kids by their own would not help. It would not help. And there are two more elements about dealing with adolescents and raising them. I will postpone them until next Friday, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal-asri inna al-insana lafi khusrin illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat wa tawasaw bil-haqqi wa tawasaw bis-sabr. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد وصل اللهم وسلم على خلفاء نبيك وأوصيائه وأهل بيته علي أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين وعلى البضعة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة وسيدي شباب أهل الجنة الحسن والحسين عليهما السلام وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه. Congratulations on the birthday of Imam Muhammadin al-Jawad عليه الصلاة والسلام. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والمؤمنون والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. I think the biggest blessings of God on mankind and the biggest gift to mankind is the institution of marriage and family. But we should not take this institution for granted. Many people fail in managing this institution. God says in the Quran that the believing men and believing women, the husbands and the wives, بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. They are protectors of each other. This institution is based on protection, on support. Couples are meant to help each other, stand with each other in this institution. The biggest encourager for a man after his birth, after his mother at home, the second most important encourager is his wife. And the biggest encourager for a female after her mother or her father at home is her husband. People who are successful, if you look at people who are really successful, they cannot achieve success, real success, without a helping partner at home. They can't. And this is why when God speaks about marriage, He says, هُنَّ لِبَاسٌ لَكُمْ. Beautiful expression. Very accurate. They are garment, apparel, and raiments for you. Libas protects. Libas adores. When we put on beautiful apparel, it's a source of attraction for us, adornment for us. But also it is a source of protection. هن لباس لكم. God says in the Quran, يا بني آدم قد أنزلنا عليكم لباسا يواري سوآتكم. We have sent down upon you garment, libas, raiment, that covers your nakedness. Nakedness is a metaphor for our weaknesses and deficiencies. We are not perfect. We have many weaknesses, many deficiencies, many failures. So who comes and fills the gap and holds my hand in my journey in this life? My partner, my wife. She's libas and I'm libas. To cover the nakedness. Nakedness, our weaknesses. We have weaknesses in this life. They are our shelters, emotional shelters, psychological shelters. This is a physical shelter. This roof above my head protects me from the sun and the rain and the wind, but not from emotional disturbances in my society, in my community, in my life. Who's going to provide me with emotional strength and refuge and shelter? Is my partner. My partner. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. We created marriage so you find shelter, emotional shelter with your partners. But sometimes this sacrosanct institution of marriage, very muqaddas, very holy, very important, sometimes it turns into an institution of conflict and race between them and confrontation and competition, rather than turning towards each other, they turn away from each other. And sometimes they turn against each other. Wow, it becomes very ugly when they go to court. I've seen it during many divorces. They have no rahmah for each other, no mercy for each other. As if they come from two different places on earth and they have not even met each other. They turn this affection, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً, affection, into animosity, into grudge, into retaliation. Becomes very ugly, very heartbreaking, very disappointing, very disappointing. They forget all the past between them. They forget that they have shared children. They raise children together. They forget everything. In this month, the rate of divorce goes up in 3 days from now, after Valentine's Day. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. Check it out. Check it out. Month of February, the rate of divorce in America, in the West, skyrockets, goes up because of Valentine's Day. Because the husband is generous when he gives promises to his wife. I'll buy you this, When they get together physically, the husband loses his brain, his mind. So he becomes the most generous in giving promises to his wife. But after 2 minutes, everything, he forgets. She thinks he's serious. He's not serious. He's enjoying himself. Not serious. When Valentine's Day comes, she has high expectations. He's going to deliver this promise, that promise. He's going to buy her the new car, the new furniture, the new ring. Nothing happens. She files for divorce because he doesn't love me. My husband does not love me. He did not buy me this and that. Your husband is wrong. I agree. Your husband is wrong because he made false promises. One should not make false promises. If you cannot deliver, if you know you don't have the ability, don't make these promises. But you are wrong too, because you are measuring love with physical objects. Yes, gift is something good in the marriage. Gift is an indication, one of the indications, not the only indication of love, to give gift to your wife, to your husband. But the real indication of love, the real indication, is the commitment, the sacrifice to your marriage. Not the gift. Sometimes a husband cannot afford a gift. He goes through some difficult times, or sometimes he forgets. But these things happen. Because when they base their marriage, the essence of marriage, on material objects, then this is how the marriage fails. Marriage is based on spiritual ideals, on sacrifice, on commitment. وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. How many times Imam Ali gave a gift to his wife Fatima? How many times? I don't think even he gave her other than the mahr that he gave. He was a breadwinner. He didn't have enough money. He was struggling to feed, to bring food. What was Fatima suspicious about his commitment, his love? She wasn't. Sometimes a husband and wife do not exchange gifts, but they are the best. And sometimes they have gifts every day, but they are not the best. They are quarreling. We have to change our perceptions, our ideals. We have to know why we are married and how we can keep this marriage strong. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against gift. I am a pro-gift. The Prophet says the gift will increase the mahabba, the respect, the trust. But it is not the only reason why we keep the marriage strong. It's not the only. Sometimes it is missing, but we still love each other and committed to each other. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. Don't forget to give her a gift on Valentine's Day. والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك غافر الخطيئات. Inshallah, on Thursday we are celebrating the milad of Mawla al-Muttaqeen wa Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Thursday at 7 p.m. inshallah. Today is the milad of Imam Muhammad al-Jawad, and tomorrow inshallah our youth of ICOC, they have a hike in Laguna Beach, I think. So you can check it out on their Instagram, the IECOC Instagram, the IECOC Youth Instagram account. وعجل اللهم في فرج سيدنا ومولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.